Hello everyone, welcome back to the lecture series of the sleep pharmacology. We already saw the part 4. This is our part 5, and in part 4 we already start the sleep disorder, right? And we already saw about the insomnia. What exactly the insomnia is? Insomnia is hyperarousal at bedtime and inability of the muscle to relax. Causes, we already know the causes, psychological causes: depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia, or substance abuse. Substance abuse means there are some kind of substance which can cause the insomnia. Most importantly, we already saw the alcohol, tobacco, caffeine. What's the treatment for insomnia? So this drug treatment is like benzodiazepine receptor agonist, that is triazolam, commonly used melatonin receptor agonist. Okay, then tricyclic drug, antihistaminic, and barbiturate. But one more thing we learn here in insomnia, that is called sleep hygiene. Not only in insomnia, almost in any kind of sleep disorder, sleep hygiene is very important. What is sleep hygiene? Avoid the nap. Nap should be avoided. That is the sleep hygiene one. Exercise regularly and don't really use the caffeine or alcohol. Okay, so no caffeine, no alcohol, no nap, and exercise regularly. This comes under the sleep hygiene. I want each and every person should remember this sleep hygiene. So after insomnia, in today's lecture we will see some of the another sleep diseases or disorder. One, usually narcolepsy. Everybody heard about this word, that is called narcolepsy. What exactly the narcolepsy is? Extreme daytime sleepiness, irresistible, right? So you feel sleepy, and but that is during the daytime, and that is also irresistible. Like if you're sitting at some place along with your friend, you fell asleep. He tried to wake you up, but you fell asleep, and that is why it is called irresistible sleep. It is the narcolepsy. So narcolepsy is the irregular extreme daytime sleepiness. Okay, plus it is extreme daytime sleepiness. Almost all disorder, they are like daytime. If you are more sleepy, extreme daytime sleepiness plus cataplexy. What is this cataplexy? So cataplexy is sudden loss of muscle tone. Might be bilateral side of your body, not a single twitch. It is sudden loss of the bilateral tone of your body, right? With consciousness. Suddenly that sleep patient or narcolepsy patient, they wake up and they feel that they don't have any tone in their body, right? But that is because of some strong emotional factor. The strong emotional factor is behind this narcolepsy, right? So what is narcolepsy? Extreme daytime sleepiness which is irresistible along with cataplexy. What is cataplexy? Sudden bilateral loss of muscle tone. Like they don't feel any tone in the muscle, right? With consciousness. Okay, so loss of tone with consciousness. Unconscious may, there is no need to worry about, but they sudden wake up and they feel that they don't have any muscle tone, right? And why it is more precipitated? They precipitated by strong emotion. So it is the sudden that is bilateral loss of the muscle tone with consciousness. Often it is precipitated by strong emotion. Some strong emotion will be behind this cataplexy. And there is some chemical hormonal imbalances here there, that is like hypocretin or orexin deficiency in the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, now the investigation, we already saw that in investigation we perform so many kind of investigation. One of the most common investigation whenever you perform in case of sleep disorder is PSG, polysomnography. In polysomnography, in case of this narcolepsy, what you get? You will get decrease REM sleep, right? So sleep paralysis with alertness, consciousness, okay, and sleep inability to move the skeletal muscle. So this is the thing I want you to remember in case of narcolepsy. That's it. What is the treatment? Treatment is very simple. If you sleep excessively during the daytime, reduce the daytime sleepiness. That is the only treatment. Okay, now the drug treatment, monoaminergic stimulant drug. What is the treatment? Monoaminergic stimulant drug. Monoaminergic stimulant drug like dextroamphetamine, like amphetamine you can use, like for example, like amphetamine, like dextro form of amphetamine. That is the treatment we can use in case of narcolepsy. There is one drug which is called modafinil. Modafinil we can use in case of the narcolepsy, or you can use some anti-cataplectic drug. There are some drug which comes under anti-cataplectic drug. If the person with narcolepsy along with the excessive episode of the cataplexy, that is a sudden loss of consciousness whenever they are not consciousness, sudden loss of muscle tone, okay, and that is why they have to use the anti-cataleptic drug, right? So duloxetine, fluoxetine, okay, so that is called dulo, that is xanthine, okay, then zetine, then second is fluoxetine. So this zetine drug we can use as a anti-cataleptic treatment in case of the narcolepsy. So this is kind of the treatment we have to use in case of the narcolepsy. So narcolepsy is the excessive daytime sleepiness associated with cataplexy. That cataplexy is very important. Now the next we will see the breathing related sleep disorder. Breathing related, okay. So this is a broad term. So what are the breathing related sleep disorder? The first one everybody know, that is called obstructive sleep apnea, right? Obstructive sleep apnea, or you can say hypoapnea. Hypoapnea. Apnea is difficulty in breathing, so oxygen is less. Second one is obstructive central sleep apnea, okay. Obstructive sleep apnea, so that is difficulty in breathing during the sleeping time, that is because of some obstruction. Second is some central cause, CNS cause. And the third, the broader term is sleep related hypoventilation. Hypoventilation, okay. Apnea is a deficient oxygen, and that is called hypoventilation. So obstructive sleep apnea, central sleep hypoapnea or apnea, and the sleep related hypoventilation. So what exactly happened here? The oxygen is less, that is called hypoxemia. That is also called, clinical feature is hypoxemia, and because of the less oxygen there is a disturbance in sleep. There is a disturbance in sleep disturbance, and because of the disturbed sleep, that particular person feel fatigue during the daytime. He don't feel like energetic, he feel daytime fatigueness, or decrease arousal early in the morning. So what is the difference between this apnea and hypopnea? Both are deficient oxygen. So when you can label, right now, so voluntarily if I stop taking the oxygen inside, you cannot really say the apnea. But whenever you are sleeping, involuntary suddenly breathe in will be stopped, and then you will get oxygen deficient condition, that is called hypoxemia. So what is apnea and what is hypoapnea? So apnea is whenever it is for 10-second decrease airflow or oxygen flow, 10 seconds, then you can say apnea. Apnea, complete absence for how much time? 10 seconds. And hypo means 5 seconds. And because of that, what happened? Patient suddenly get up, okay, because he's not getting enough ventilation, right? He's not getting the oxygen. So this is hypoxemia, you can see, and causes are obstructive causes, central causes, or some sleep related hypoventilation, right? So this apnea hypoapnea index is very important, right? So apnea plus hypoapnea. Okay, you can count per hour. So this apnea hypoapnea index is very, very important whenever we are deal with breathing related disorders. So what are the obstructive causes? Pharyngeal airway obstruction during the sleep. So there is some swelling in your pharynx or some pharyngitis or some cause. So pharyngeal airway obstruction, this is one of the cause of obstructive sleep apnea. Then you can get the snoring or gasping. Okay, so daytime. So this is what you can get in case of obstructive. So in case of obstructive, the most important cause is pharyngeal airway obstruction during the sleep time. Snoring, you can see the snoring or gasping like excessive inhalation, that gasping, breathe pause. Somebody is breathing during the sleep time and suddenly there is a pause. That's what you can see in case of obstructive sleep apnea. Daytime sleepiness you can see in the obstructive sleep apnea or fatigability, right? And such patient with obstructive sleep apnea, they have poor concentration whenever they are in school or colleges or they are doing some work. They cannot focus on that particular subject or particular work because they are tired, they are irritable, they are more irritable, right? So these are kind of your which one, that is called the obstructive sleep apnea disorder, right? Then what are the another causes in case another causes of this obstructive? Okay, so like some obstruction is there, or substance abuse, alcohol, so like swelling in your pharyngeal. Now hypertension is one of the cause. You can see the sleep apnea, heartburn. So you can see here in case of the sleep apnea, right? In some patient, like body fat, like if BMI is more than 30, in that patient also they show the sign and symptoms of obstructive sleep apnea. So if the BMI is more than 30, they are more prone to the obstructive sleep apnea. Treatment, what exactly the treatment of this breathing related like obstructive sleep apnea? That is CPAP. What is this CPAP? Continuous positive airway pressure, right? So there is a mask like there and there is a flow of oxygen, right? And that mask or that tube is inside your nose, and that fulfill your basically that oxygen requirement of your body, and that is a continuous. So the patient will get the enough or good sleep because oxygen is there, which is continuously. So continuous positive airway pressure, the CPAP is one of the treatment of choice in case of the obstructive sleep apnea, right? And there are certain another thing like mandibular advancement devices, they are available in the market, right? So this mandible, they are putting inside your mouth and they advance your mandible so that there is not tongue fall and there will not be a obstruction. That is called mandibular advancement devices you can use in case of this obstructive sleep apnea. And there is one surgery also, the ula. You can see the ula. Okay, the size of ula is increases, it is like edematous and they don't have a good strength, so that is why there is an obstruction, right? So this obstruction will be cured by surgery, and that surgery is called ulopalatopharyngoplasty. Ulopalatopharyngeal plasty, right? So there is a strengthening of this ulopalatal pharyngeal, that particular muscle group, so that there is no laxity and there shouldn't be obstruction. So when you breathe in, this ula doesn't come inside your breathing when you are lying down. So what happened if it is a lax? So what happened, when air goes inside, that is obstructed by this lax ula. The muscles are not good in that ula, so you have to strengthen it with the help of surgery, that is called where you have to join palato with pharyngeal muscles. So ulopalatopharyngeal plasty or pharyngoplasty is one of the surgical treatment, that is in case of the obstructive sleep apnea, right? If BMI is the cause, then weight loss. Okay, weight loss is one of the treatment, right? So exercise, sleep hygiene, exercise regularly, avoid alcohol, you can do that, right? Then you can avoid the supine position during the sleeping. if somebody is having obstructive sleep apnea, they should avoid the supine position, like face towards the roof. They can go lateral position, right? So this is a kind of like obstructive sleep apnea. Now central sleep apnea, right? So that is the CNS cause variability in the respiration. Because of that central cause, there is a variability in respiration, leads to apnea or hypoapnea during the sleep, right? So what are the central cause? Central cause is disease related, right? Like Kine stroke breathing, right? One of is Kine stroke breathing. You can see in case of patient of heart failure, right? Or kidney failure or stroke, right? If somebody is using opioid long term, so in that also there is a not obstruction is an anatomical defect here, but central is okay. But here centrally there is a cause of this breathing related disorder, apnea or hypoapnea. So if they will ask about the central causes, right, the Kine stroke breathing is one of the breathing related central sleep apnea or hypoapnea, right? So because of heart failure, kidney failure, you can see the Kine stroke breathing. Opioid use long term, like methadone, if you are using the methadone long term, that is the opioid, so you feel that is called the central sleep apnea disorder. So ये हो गए तुम्हारे central sleep apnea disorder. So what is the treatment of this central one more. What is the treatment of this central sleep apnea disorder? Same thing, like CPAP, we can use the CPAP, that is oxygen under the low oxygen flow therapy. Or if somebody is on opioid, decrease the dose of opioid. Now these are your breathing related. And then some like somnolence. Okay, now hypersomnolence. Now we will see the hypersomnolence. Okay, so what exactly? So we are talking about the various disorder. Now the hypersomnolence. Okay, so what is hypersomnolence? Whenever there is a word hyper, it means excessive. So what is hypersomnolence? So hypersomnolence is an excessive sleep disorder, okay, despite the night sleep. So patient is getting night sleep also, and in daytime also excessive sleeping. Okay, that is called hypersomnolence. Okay, so hypersomnolence is an excessive sleep disorder in which they excessively sleep during the daytime, but nighttime sleep is also okay. Plus no catalepsy, depression. Plus there is a depression, or there might be a medical cause which is called orthostatic hypotension. That patient can land up into this one, hypersomnolence. So there is a difference between narcolepsy and hypersomnolence. In hypersomnolence, there is excessive sleep despite the normal sleep at the night. And normal sleep bhi hoga night mein, but there is also excessive sleep. Why? The causes are depression causes. That patient might be depressed, or medical causes orthostatic hypotension, right? So hypersomnolence, where you will get the hypersomnolence, like menstruation related, right? Menstrual related, or some medical condition, or drug or substance abuse, right? Drug or substance abuse. So this is called like your hypersomnolence. Treatment. What is the treatment in case of hypersomnolence? That is same monoaminergic stimulant drug like dextroamphetamine or methylphenidate. Okay, so ये डेक्स्ट्रोएम्फेटामिन यहाँ लिखा है, यहाँ लिखते हैं मिथाइलफेनिडेट. These are all example of your which one? That is called monoaminergic stimulant. यही हम लोग यहाँ यूज कर रहे हैं, right? Almost the same thing, but here there is a catalepsy, so that is why we are adding anti-cataleptic drug in narcolepsy, that is duloxetine and fluoxetine. Here there is a excessive sleep you have to avoid, and that is why we are using what? The monoaminergic drug, that is stimulant drug, that is methylphenidate or amphetamine or dextroamphetamine, right? And then modafinil or bupropion. Okay, so modafinil So these are the line of treatment in case of the hypersomnolence. So this is a hypersomnolence disorder. So there are so many kind of disorder you have to learn here. Do you heard that word that is called jet lag? Jet lag. There is one word usually people use that is called jet lag. Okay. What is jet lag? When you are traveling in the aeroplane, right? There is a high-speed air travel. Any high-speed air travel. It's not like aeroplane or jet. It is a high-speed air travel close to the space, not to the earth. So it should be the high-speed air travel close to the space. So what happened here? There is a desynchrony between circadian and environmental clock, right? So normally when you are on the earth, there is a synchronization between your body, day and night, and sunlight. But whenever you are toward the space side, or might be in the jet or might be in some air travel, what exactly happened here? There is a desynchrony between the circadian rhythm of your body and environmental clock, right? So we already know the pineal body, environmental stimulation, ultraviolet C, all this is going to be disturbed, right? And then there is a jet lag. Because of that, there is a jet lag. We can use the same drug that is called modafinil. Modafinil you can use here, or you can use shifting of the working schedule. Okay, so if somebody is having jet lag, you can shift the work schedule there, right? So these are kind of sleep related hypoventilation or some another disorder. One is called parasomnia. Now we'll see what is parasomnia. Parasomnia, that is not hypersomnolence. We will see the parasomnia. So parasomnia, it is like unpleasant and undesirable behavior during the sleep period. No one likes a patient parasomnia or parasomnic. What is parasomnia? It is not really it is about the sleep, but here there is a very specific character, okay, or clinical feature of this patient, parasomnic patient, unpleasant, or you can say undesirable. These two words in parasomnia, unpleasant and undesirable behavior during sleep. So that person is sleeping, but that person should have unpleasant and undesirable behavior, right? So non-REM sleep and REM sleep. There are two types of sleep. We already know. First, start with the non-REM sleep. Here there is a dreaming, and this is a rapid eye movement sleep. So parasomnic patient, they have a problem during this non-REM sleep and REM sleep. And whatever they behave, that behavior is not acceptable. It is an unpleasant behavior or undesirable behavior. What is that? First one, in non-REM sleep, there is a sleep arousal disorder. Okay, so we already know it is divided into 3 stages, right? So in first 1/3 time during non-REM sleep, during the first 1/3 half of the sleep, we already know there is a dreaming. And person will not recollect or recall the dream. This we already know in case of non-REM sleep. Okay, this is very important. So whenever there is a dream, like first 1/3 or first half of this non-REM sleep, this is drowsy, then that person can land up into the sleep, and this is the deep sleep, which is the excessive time. And here somewhere here there is a dream, but that dream is non-recallable. What happened here? There is one called sleep. I will write down in a red color. Sleepwalking. No one should accept that someone is sleeping and they are walking. Sleepwalking is like unpleasant and undesirable behavior, right? On top of that, that person doesn't know what he or she is doing, and that is why it is unpleasant or undesirable. So sleepwalking comes under this parasomnia. So sleepwalking, they rise and they walk with eye open. They are sleeping, their mind is sleeping, but they rise and they started walking. And whenever such person walk, in the sleep, we feel that he or she is awake. So they open eyes, they continuously stare, but their mind is sleeping. And that is why it is an unpleasant and undesirable behavior, right? And if somebody want to wake them up, they are unresponsive, right? So if you take them and if you put them on the bed, they will again go into the sleep. But this is not a good or pleasant or desirable behavior. That's why I say parasomnia is unpleasant and undesirable behavior. So this is during non-REM sleep. This is one, sleepwalking. Okay, this is first one. Second is sleep terror. Now what is this sleep terror? Sleep terror is loud screaming. They suddenly wake up and they scream, they shout loudly. Okay, they scream or shout loudly with fear. Their heart rate increases, their pupil because of the fear is dilated, right? Breathing like tachypnea, sweating is there, right? So all this comes under the sleep terror, like screaming loudly, heart rate increases, tachypnea, sweating, with motor activity. There is a motor activity here. Both here there is a motor activity. Here the motor activity, like they just run or they do anything. They might be injure themselves also. Like that is why motor activity is there, not a paralysis. Here there is no paralysis. Okay. In another disorder there is a paralysis or cataplexy. You can see here there is a motor activity. So in sleep terror, screaming loudly, heart rate over, pupil dilated, tachypnea is there, sweating. So they have some fear. Right? So they started running from the bed or they started injuring, right? But the important thing is that in this both disorder, complete amnesia is there. Why complete amnesia? Because they are in non-rapid eye movement sleep, right? Deep sleep. There is a complete amnesia of act. They don't know they are sleepwalking, right? See, they don't know they have this fear. Everything is complete amnesia, and that in that particular act they are doing all these things. So this is all about your which one? Parasomnic non-REM sleep. One is called sleepwalking, another is called sleep terror. So how will you treat this? You can use same tricyclic antidepressant drug. Okay, so tricyclic antidepressant drug we can use in case of this sleepwalking or sleep, or in case of parasomnia, like imiprim, benzodiazepine. Okay, like imiprim or benzodiazepine. Okay, benzodiazepine like clonazepam. So that we can use in case of this non-rapid eye movement parasomnic, like dopaminergic agent. So this is non-REM. Now we will see REM parasomnia. What is REM parasomnia? So this is REM parasomnia, which is a sleep related. First is nightmare disorder. Now you can see here sleep terror. I don't say anything about the dream. Okay, dreaming is there in non-rapid eye movement, and the dream we will not recollect. Sleepwalking is there in sleep terror. Now, what is nightmare in REM sleep? So, in case of REM sleep, there are some nightmare disorder. This nightmare disorder, they come under the rapid eye movement, like bad dream. Usually the bad dreams. Okay, the bad dreams are there. And here, they might remember I will write down with this green color. So here there is a complete amnesia, but here they might remember the details. So detail remember there here in case of RREM sleep. Okay. Individual, when they wake up from the dream, they are completely alert. Here they don't know anything. I'm complete amnesia. So when they arouse from the particular sleep because of some that bad dream, they remember the complete detail. They are completely alert, oriented, okay, and they know that they are there, right? So they are there. Something bad they saw, okay, and they have that particular fear. What are the causes? Here there are some central cause. Here the most important causes in case of this REM sleep disorder, it is like post-traumatic stress disorder or sexual abuse. Commonly, if somebody is having post-traumatic stress disorder or sexual abuse, they have this kind of sign and symptoms, that is rapid eye movement associated parasomnia. So dreaming is in both. Dreaming is both here, but you cannot remember the dream. If you don't remember the dream, there is no fear. But here you remember the dream, some part of that particular dream, bad dream, and wake up with alertness, and the reason is post-traumatic stress disorder or sexual abuse. How will you treat this case? Okay, so treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Prazosin, you can use drug of choice, usually PTSD, prazosin. I want you to remember, in PTSD we use the prazosin, or there are another drug like clonidine or cyproheptadine, right? So cyproheptadine, or that is called clonidine. So these are kind of the drug you can use in case of parasomnia, in case of rapid eye movement. That is called rapid eye movement disorder. So ये हो गया parasomnia. Now there are some another disorder, like I want you to remember that what there is one restless leg syndrome. It's kind of funny. Restless leg syndrome. You are sleeping and your leg is moving. So it is like restless leg syndrome. So we are taking almost all the sleep related diseases. One is restless leg syndrome. It is a neurological sensory motor disorder. If there is a movement, 100% there is a sensory motor involvement. So it is a sensory motor disorder, okay, neurological disorder with uncomfortable leg sensation. Such person, there is a sensation or there is a feeling, they feel itching or burning sensation in their leg, itching or burning sensation in their leg. Like not only itching, burning, they feel something is crawling on their leg, or something is creeping on their leg, and that's why they move the leg. Okay, so these are some sensation, they feel the sensation on their leg, and that is why there is a movement. That is why it's called sensory motor restless leg syndrome. They have a feeling of itching, burning sensation in the lower limb. There is a crawling sensation, something is creeping, or electric like sensation, right? So usually below the ankle and knee, or usually below the knee or below the ankle, right? So here they started feeling in evening. They started feeling during the evening, okay, and they are more worse at that time, during the evening time, as compared to the sleep time, right? So before going to bed, they started feeling that particular restless leg syndrome, like feeling like burning, creeping, crawling, or electric sensation. That is called restless leg syndrome. So this is restless leg syndrome. I want you to remember. So if it is before sleeping, how will you do? Just walk before the sleep, or stretch or stand before the sleep. We already know that before sleep it is better to walk and relax your body, right? Stretch your body so you can get complete. So this is kind of one of the things you can use in case of sleep hygiene. So how will you relieve this restless leg syndrome? By motor walk. Just walk before the sleep, or stretch your body, or stand, and then you will get the good sleep, because the problems or sign and symptoms are more during the before sleep. Okay, before sleep. And you can also use the treatment is a neurological disorder, so you can use the like dopamine or dopamine agonist drug like pergolide. Okay, so pergolide or dopamine agonist drug, or you can use levodopa or carbidopa. Okay, benzodiazepine is not a primary line of management here. It's not like a depressive thing. Okay, so it is like a sensory motor neuro disorder. So you can use the chemical, that is levodopa or carbidopa or dopamine agonist drug like pergolide, right? So this is all about the restless leg syndrome. So here we cover almost all the sleep related disorder. Now at last, in sleep physiology and sleep lecture, I want you to remember, if there is no problem, okay, pathological problem, or if there is no PTSD, nothing is there, still, if everything is alright, there is no pathological CNS or any medicinal systemic problem, still 99% of the young generation, they fall prey of this sleep disorder. Why? Because not about this one, these are like 10% or like 5 to 10% diseases what we are discussing, but 90 or 9 more than 90% they are substance induced sleep disorder. And everybody know what are the name of that substance. I starting from first lecture I am talking about them: caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine, right? If it is about any line of treatment, like if you are on drug like antidepressant or corticosteroid, that is okay, that you are taking some line of treatment and that is why you are having the sleep problem, okay, because of that. But we can avoid these three things: caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. Okay, so caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. So I can sleep well. This is my take home message for everyone. I can sleep well if I can not use these three substances. So what is the take home message for each and everyone? I can sleep well if I cannot use these three substances. What is this three substances? Caffeine, alcohol, nicotine. So can, if you want, so you can do by avoiding these three: caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. So I am not like telling you to change your behavior, but these are avoidable: caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine, right? So sleep hygiene, avoid nap, exercise regularly, avoid all this can thing, and then you can, good thing, you can sleep well. So that is about the caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. So this is whole thing about the sleep physiology and pharmacology. We also discussed the anatomy also here. So everything related to the sleep is included in all my lectures starting from part 1, and this is the last lecture of this sleep physiology and pharmacology, where we cover almost all disorder. I want you to more focused on the substance induced sleep disorder, right? So that if you want or if you can, you have to go for the caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. You don't want that. So if you have any problems, so you can just visit my website, okay, and you can have your doubt clear. So thank you.